Baxter.
Hold on, Carmen. We're not
Hi.
live yet. Ready? Hi, everybody. We're live, and it is a discussion panel for our Pray Don't Panic book. And I have a group of lovely authors here. I'm so excited to hear from them. This is, to celebrate our book coming out, this Pray Don't Panic coming to paperback. That means I hope you already downloaded the ebook from Amazon or one of the retailers. But if you haven't, or even if you had, now you're going to be able to get your hands on a paperback where you can highlight and make notes. I'm going to have Carmen Mendel kick off here and tell us, what does Pray Don't Panic mean to you?
When I heard the name Pray Don't Panic, I think of a situation where if I've lost something or if I'm going through something emotional or something's going on and I just need to stop, I need to pray and then move forward. And a certain quote comes to mind I wanted to share by James Keller. That's a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And I think it's so meaningful that all of us ladies are able to share and our experiences, our stories of how God has worked in our lives, and just how this book is so meaningful in that way. And I'm going to send it off to Tracy right next to me.
Hey everyone. I would agree with what Carmen said in that when I heard the title of the book, it made me think of my faith. It made me think of all the things that I've been through and times where my faith carried me through. But I think as normal human beings, we forget that when we're in the midst of struggle and we get lost in our own, I won't say pity party, but it is when we start feeling down about everything and life gets tough and we just think that, like giving up and that no one's really helping us or paying attention. Excuse me, I have a cold. But that we do have our faith and it's carried us through so many things. And sometimes we just need to be reminded that that never goes away. But have we leaned into our faith to carry us through those times? And I'm going to pass it over to Shaniqua.
So for me, it's kind of the same thing of what you guys already said. When I hear the title, I do think about just everything that in my life, right, that's transpired. And you just think about the good over the bad. And to me, prayer has always helped calm my nerves because I think about those things that God has always brought me through. And why would this be any different? And that kind of helps me to just really reflect on the good over the bad, because so much good has happened and we always think about the bad because that's what's happening at that moment. But it's so much good, and so he's never failed me. So I always think about, okay, this is no different because he's a God that does not change. So that's what I think about. And I guess I would pass it to Anna. I think that's the next person for me.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, ladies?
Yes. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I wasn't sure. You can hear me? I pressed the mute and I wasn't sure if you were able to hear me. Okay. I'm not muted?
No. We can hear you.
No, you're
perfect.
Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Yes, good morning, ladies. For me, pray don't panic means just that. I've always relied on my faith and I consider myself a prayer warrior. So to be a part of this and share my faith and my belief system and being able to, just tell a story in terms of, prayer. So I created a habit some time ago where at 10 o'clock every day, I get a notification on my phone at 10 minutes to 10 that reminds me to pray for all my C's. And those are my friends and family who have cancer. it started out as my girlfriend Cynthia, and then my girlfriend Christina, and it just built from there. So I just consider myself a prayer warrior. I'm constantly praying, and I'm very blessed and fortunate to get signs in the forms of license plates. And I know that God's always working behind the scenes, and He's always putting people on my heart who need prayer. So I just I'm excited to be a part of this second book that I wrote. My name of my chapter is, of course, Up to You, God, because I believe everything is up to Him. So that's all I have to say.
Beautiful. Can you pick another person to talk now?
Oh, for me?
Yeah, pick another person to talk. Another author, co-author of yours.
I don't see names on here, so I don't know who to pick.
All right, I'll pick for you, Miss Kenya. How are you doing today? What does Pray Don't Panic mean to you?
Hi, everybody. So it's interesting because, excuse me, I also have a cold. When the assignment came up for this, I felt really personal. I took it really personally because I am someone who has struggled with literal panic disorder for a lot of my adult life, most of my adult life, and I also worked with girls that are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. So I'm a trauma specialist. That's my original career. And so I thought to myself, the title of my chapter is No Wrong Way to Pray. And one of the reasons why I was inspired to write that and turn that into my chapter is because so many of the young women that I work with had never felt like they had any reason to pray or to practice any kind of mindfulness or have any kind of higher power. And my first book was actually based on that group of women young women, teenagers that I worked with. And I felt like if you've been through a major, major, major struggle, but you have not been in a family or you're a foster youth or something like that, where that you were never given any hope or belief system of something to believe in, then there's got to be some other way to channel your connection to the divine, right? And so I tried to use language where that was not intimidating, where your divine is your divine, your God is your God, your higher power is your higher power. By whatever name you want to call him or her, and understanding that power can lead you out of panic, as it has for me many times. All kinds of mindfulness techniques, as some of you know, I'm a yoga teacher too. But all of it to me works together. It all works together. You're channeling the divine so that you can get through tough times, tough moments. Sometimes it's just a moment. As somebody who has had panic disorder forever, sometimes it's just that moment that I need to get through to the other side. And then I think it's Anna that mentioned, or somebody mentioned, friends with cancer, right? And I lost my best friend to cancer. And when I tell you, I really needed my connection to the divine, my prayer, my practices in order to get through that worst time of my life. And that's what I love about this book, is that we get to share that with other people, no matter what they believe in or don't believe in. It's not necessarily about that. It's more about that there is a power that you can tap into to get through anything. So that's what it means to me. I know I'm long-winded, y'all. That's what it means to me.
You're great. You're great. Thank you. What about you, Dr. Elizabeth? Kenya, Dr. Elizabeth, what about you? Can you unmute yourself and share with us?
Yeah, here we go. It wasn't unmuting. I was pushing the button. It wasn't happening. Okay. Similar to Kenya, good morning, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm in early morning. The Pray Don't Panic means to me, I hooked into the panic as well because I have in my history jumped into very high levels of stress and panic. And so that was the bit that I jumped into. Somebody's got background noise. For me, I don't have a very strong connection with prayer. My level of prayer, my understanding of prayer for myself is that coming back to me, reflecting, pausing, being mindful, being meditative, and through that, connecting with higher self, connecting with powers that be. I very strongly have a very strong spiritual connection to meaning beyond self, but I don't call it an entity or a person or a thing. And so that's my understanding of how I connect beyond myself and get through, very similar to what Kenya was saying, get through those moments of high levels of pressure and stress. And I just absolutely love the opportunity to be able to contribute to a book that brings such a breadth of understanding from people all around the world that we can actually share what works for us. This is what we teach in our business, authentic leadership, strategies that actually work to de-escalate that enormous amount of pressure, stress, whatever people want to put a label on it, and be able to have the tools that can see them through that and grow and boost and expand their resilience. So anything that does that for people across the world is fantastic in my world. And I'm very grateful to be part of this best-selling book.
And we are grateful to have you. And thank you for getting up early and joining us from all the way from across the world for some of us. Chandra, what about you? What does Pray Don't Panic mean to you?
Pray Don't Panic for me it's been very dear to my heart, and what it means to me is basically when we are faced with any adverse situations in our life, we tend to panic, we tend to worry, we tend to get mad, we tend to get hurt, and we are in a reactive mode. And when we bring prayer into our life, we are bringing faith into our life. And just like Kenya mentioned, for me, that is consciousness, and which manifests in different forms, according to me. So we pray to that higher power, and immediately we come back into a mindful state, in a present state. And instead of reacting to the situation, we are actually responding from that understanding that challenges are life's gifts. And if we keep on worrying and thinking about these negative things, it's not going to actually help us or anybody. In fact, this can lead to psychosomatic diseases and many other things. And instead of that, if we pray, and when we come back to our present moment, God can bring miracles in our lives. And I have experienced these throughout my life, and I have expressed this several examples in my chapter known as Faith in Action, the Transformative Power of Prayer. And really, prayer is faith in action. When you pray, your faith is coming in action, and when it's in action, you come back to the present moment, and you are actually responding instead of reacting, and allowing the higher power or consciousness to work through you. You become an instrument. So that's what Pray Don't Panic means to me. Thank you so much. And I would call in Heidi to share her thoughts.
Well, thank you very much. And first off, I want to say thank you to Hannah and She Rises Studios for allowing me to be a part of this project. It's just amazing, all these powerful women and all of in all of the things that we've been able to accomplish collectively throughout our lives and individually. We're taking this space to recognize that it's okay to say, I am not a superwoman. I don't do everything on my own. I need help. And that's really what prayer is. It's simply talking to God and thanking Him for who He is, asking Him for the help you need. And so the don't in between pray, don't panic shows that they're at odds with each other. That when we have those moments where we forget to pray and we do panic, that can do things to us physically, emotionally, psychologically, relationally with people around us. And then when we do pray and we leave those things that are worrying us, when we say, okay, God, I need help with this, this, and this, and I thank you in advance that I know you're with me, it really does matter. It really does make a difference, not only to me as a person, but to anybody around me that's either watching me or people that I interact with. I love that some of the stories that you ladies have talked about are helping others, helping people that don't have relational connections, helping folks. Sometimes we don't even know who's watching us. And so I really love that part. For me, I'm the founder of Warrior Princess Enterprises, and that's just a matter of saying there are some different personas that you take on when you are a believer that help you be more victorious in life. And for me and my experience, whether it's things I've mentioned in the book about dealing with a devastating car accident or relationship failures, woes, for me, praise and gratitude have been so healing and so important on my journey. And so that's why that's the title of my chapter, is that praise and gratitude are the most effective tag team that we have in this pray don't panic battle. So I'm just really grateful to have had the chance to share what I've learned, and I'm so excited to learn from all of you. And it looks to me like Yvonne would be next.
Hello, everyone. I'm not going to take too much time because everything that each one of you had said is a culmination of pray don't panic. I would like to say that my chapter is the storm, and I've been through many, but prayer was my number one focus to help me to be calm in the situation. I would say that practicing deep breathing is the first thought that comes. Take a deep breath so I can focus, and prayer has been my number one thing. My background is human resources, but everything changed in life. I was a career woman in 97. Everything changed. I had to come home and help my dad care for my mom. And then a few years later, my dad had a massive stroke. And then he passed away, and my handicapped brother fell in my lap. 3 years ago, he died in his sleep. With all that, in 2014, I was diagnosed with cancer. Prayer was the number one thing for me. I'm so excited about Pray Don't Panic. Thank you, She Rises Studios. And again, bestseller, yay! That's
yes, yes, we have and amazing milestones. You guys have done a terrific job with this book. Now, each of you mentioned, some different tools and some different purposes and some different reasons for why you've turned to prayer and why prayer saw you through things. So often we pray, at least I hope you do. I know at my house, you pray for a meal when it's meal time, and you pray at night at bed with the kids. But let's talk it for a minute and go around to each one of you when it's really time to sit down and do some serious praying, some quiet time praying, that praying like you talk about, that makes, all the difference for your emotional self, as well as maybe the situations you're facing. what is maybe some things you do when you're going into that prayer time? You know, do you find a quiet place? Do you light a certain candle? Do you try to go in a certain mindset? Do you journal? Do you journal prior to prayer? There's a lot of people that have different ways of going to that quiet time with God when they're looking for that additional guidance through something. So if you can think about that and maybe just go around one more time, and we're going to round robin around to each author before we go. And if you have something to share about, you know, that real prayer time where you sit down and make those decisions and get that guidance. So Carmen, I'm going to go off to you again. Unmute, Carmen.
Sorry about that. Didn't realize I was muted. I tend to be a very scheduled person. I like routines, and I was a fitness coach and had my master's in nutrition for 8 years. I worked with clients. And so I have developed myself in the mornings. I go down to our home gym and I work out for 30 minutes. And as I'm working out, I am with God and I'm praying for my family. I'm praying for my friends. I'm praying for my church family, mainly my son, my husband, our lives. That is the time that I'm connecting with God. And if I miss that, I truly do miss that. I can tell that there's something missing. That's only one component of it. So then when I come upstairs and I have breakfast, then I also sit down and I have a morning devotional. And what I've been doing is working out of a book that's actually, I've made a vow to myself that I want to read the entire Bible in 1 year. Now, I've listened to it before on Zondervan, but I've never read the entire Bible. So I'm taking small chunks and I'm using a devotional right now and just really purposefully taking a little bit each day and working with this book and going through the Bible. And it has me read, you know, maybe 8 to 10 pages a day. And there's room for reflection and questions at the end as well. So I just really feel like that's something that I put into place. But then, of course, there's just throughout the day, constantly, you know, if something comes up, if I know that one of my friends has cancer, I'm praying for them periodically throughout the day. If I know that possibly my son had finals today, for instance, so I was praying for him for his final tests. And, you know, my husband out, and the work that we do in the tree business can be very dangerous. So I'm constantly praying over my husband and the team, and, you know, just making sure that every day, throughout the day, not just mealtime, not just bedtime, but throughout the day, that I am reconnecting with God and just talking to him and just praying. And I guess that's what I do. And Tracy.
Yeah, thanks. I love that so much, Carmen. For me, you know, my title of my chapter is "It Was No Accident," because I was at a time in my life where I was just the lowest of low, and I was trying to control everything in my life. Didn't realize how much I felt that I had to control this or be perfect, or my life needed to look this way. And that car accident switched gears for me, and I was actually mad at God, angry, and I had abandoned him. He never abandoned me. I abandoned him, and I tried to take the control. And so what it reminded me of, and what I work with my clients now, is to tap into that passion and that story and those struggles. And when we do that, we actually turn over the control to what our purpose is and what our mission here is. And so one of the things I do is I pull a daily affirmation, and I try to be present with my family, with my children, my grandchildren, my husband of 35 years. I try to pull an affirmation in the morning when I'm working and let God and my higher beings, whatever you want to call them, it doesn't matter. They're all universal. And rely on that I'm being channeled to do the work that I'm meant to be here doing, and not trying to control what that looks like. And being trapped in a car for 2 hours while people are cutting you out of it is really hard to do. And then letting people take care of you afterwards is really hard to do. And I had to learn how to let go of that control and go back to my prayers that my grandmother instilled. And someone mentioned growing up with a belief system. And even though the church that I went to never accepted some things about me, I was a teen mother destined with a long lineage of teen moms never to graduate high school or go to college. And I graduated high school and I went to college, and I was determined to keep my child and make sure my children had the life that they deserved. I had forgotten about my faith because the church abandoned me and other people abandoned me throughout that journey. And so when I went back to relying on that, and so now I make sure that it leads me daily, of relying on that I am a vessel for the message and the passion and my mission, and that I don't control that. I don't control the outcome. I don't control any of that. But when I'm leading with my passion and my faith, someone else is in control and the right things happen for me. And I find the abundance and I find the joy and I am present. So with that, Shaniqua, it's on to you.
Thank you. What I do is, so I am, I gotta have me a schedule as well. And I have ADHD. So for me, it's like I have to have it quiet. So I get up at like 5:30, between 5:30. And I work from home, so I really don't have to be in front of my computer until 9. So from like 5:30 till 8, I have that time to myself because my husband's sleeping, my children are sleep. So I'm able to be in quietness. I sit in my recliner and I have my I just have my lamp on because I get distracted so easy. But I always go with my Bible plan, and then I read like wherever I am in my life. If I'm feeling some type of way, I try to go through scriptures that help me. Like if I'm feeling insecure about something, then what does God say about me, or who does He say I am? And I kind of do that, and then I have my community, which is part of what helps me to stay on track, is my godly community, because I have a prayer partner that I always, and I mentioned her in my book, but in my chapter, but she's always helped me through a lot of things when I feel like I'm too weary to pray in the moments of the things that was going on with my son. She always just helps me and lifts me up and prays with me, and vice versa, because I think sometimes when we are weary and when we just don't know why things are happening, or you feel some type of way, I think God put people in our life to help us through it. And so that's just helped me to stay on track with my walk, because I don't, we all have days that sometimes I get up and I'm like, I really don't know if I really want to get into my Bible today. But she's always there. And I have other people that God has put in my community. So I'm really big on community and women needing each other in marriage and everything, because they've helped me through so many things. And I thank God, because if I didn't have a community or a strong community, I don't know how I would even be with this issue with my son and the things that has happened. I don't know where I would be or how I would even be at this moment. So like, it's just, to me, that's that time in the morning and my time with her helps me. So I can start my day on that note of, okay, God. And then of course, throughout the day, if I have those moments, I still have my scriptures, I still pray, and I still, have her or other women that I can come talk to if I'm feeling some type of way. But yeah. So, Anna.
Okay, I'm going to say that my ritual is using journals. I like to journal. I love journaling. My thoughts, my prayers, my requests. I always surrender everything to God, because I feel that He's orchestrated so many of my steps that I have come to learn to rely solely on listening to Him, and I only get to listen to Him when I'm quiet and still. So um, I I just wake up with gratitude that I woke up and I'm healthy and my family's, surrounded me with love, and I'm very thankful and appreciative to what I've been blessed with. I my chapter was called up to you, God, because I believe everything is up to him. But after I got that played, I got please pray, I got amen God, I got thanks to God. So I'm always constantly giving him all the glory and praise. But it's become a habit. So when my dad passed away, I was a young girl. My mom became a single mother of 4 kids. And every night she would have us lay or kneel in front of our bed and pray. So it became a habit to always pray every single day. I've even taught my dogs how to pray. So they pray for their food every day too, but it's just become a habit. When I created my Up to You God page, um, I actually created it organically 10 years ago, and anybody who would comment or like or share my post, I would love it. I would pray for that person. If it was Danny, I would pray for the person who I know was Danny as well as the Danny who commented. And it just became a ritual for me to pray for others. So that's why I think I classified myself as a prayer warrior, because God has allowed me to be that for him. It gives me satisfaction. There's an excerpt in my first book. My first book chapter I wrote was "My spirituality is my priority for eternity," and it's true. I live. I stand strong on my faith, and I believe that we all go through trials, we all go through tribulations, but it's during those times that I have to put all my complete trust into the Lord, knowing that He's already has the solution, good or bad. I have to accept it. So that's just things that I do. As I'm constantly thanking him. When I'm in the shower, I'm thanking him for the water. I'm thanking him for everything that I get, because I'm so grateful, because I've been in a point in my life where I've had nothing. And so I'm grateful for every single thing that I've worked toward and accomplished. By the will of God, everything happens for a reason, right? So there's a reason why I was a part of this book, and I'm so excited to be rubbing elbows with like-minded, faithful women like you. We'll go on to the next person.
Thank you, Anna. Kenya, what about you?
Well, so I wish I were as structured as so many of you. My ADHD has me discombobulated. So I'm somebody who has a tendency to, I'm on the move all the time, and I will be praying while I'm driving, or I will have a thought in my head, and it won't necessarily be a prayer, but it will be, maybe it is, but it'll be kind of me opening up a conversation with God, and just talking about what it is I'm thinking and feeling, asking for help, asking for guidance, right? And it makes me feel kind of like, for me, he's just always with me. She's just always with me. They're just always with me. My spiritual guide, and I was raised Catholic, so I'm connected to God in that way from my roots. And I also have I think is kind of a unique situation, which is that I am married to an atheist, and I've been with my husband for 29 years. But before we got married, we agreed, I said, listen, I need to raise my child up with, a spiritual foundation, because that was very important to me. I was like, you're a great person and I love you, but this has to be a part of my child's life and my life. And so he's always been very supportive of that. And so I don't really do much prayer in community too much, except for when my kids in choir or when I used to sing in choir. For me, it's very personal. You know, my connection to God is very, very personal, and I access him everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. Somebody said in the shower, you know, I'm exactly the same way. In my car, in the grocery store, I thank God all the time just for my fruits and vegetables, you know, that I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to be able to go to the store and buy whatever I want when it comes to like nurturing myself and nourishing myself and my family. So, so for me, it's just kind of a constant ongoing relationship, and that's kind of how I connect. Oh, and I will say, let's move on to Dr. Elizabeth.
So I was brought up in a very, very Pentecostal church, and when my marriage broke up, so did my relationship with the church, and felt that there was a lot of judgment from my family, from the church, and many, many things. So I come at this totally differently, and I don't see myself connected to a being. I see myself connected to something that is greater than me, absolutely. I don't call it God. However, the things that I do when I come into this state of mindfulness and being is every morning I set myself up. So I go through certain things for the first sort of hour of power. I set myself up through breath, through guided meditation, and I do love also journaling as well when I'm working through something and connecting and identifying how to let something go, for example, or work through something that I'm going through. So I come into intention. I set intentions very, very strongly. What is my intention for today? I think it was, and I learned from 2010 when I lost my brother that I was the closest to, that every single day is such a gift. And every moment, every morning when I wake up, doesn't matter when it is, doesn't matter how I feel, doesn't matter what's happening the day before or today. I'm grateful to have breath and be alive. And so some people will call all of those things prayer. I don't call them prayer. I don't connect to a being. I connect to something that I know that there is something bigger and brighter and something beyond myself. And I also come back to me. So I trust my intuition. And I know that my intuition is strong and powerful and is part of my being of who I be. And so again, I see this in a different way. And I love that we have different ideas and experiences and options and ways of speaking this, because people throughout the world see this very, very differently. And I just think that that's part of the beauty of it as well. When people say, but they pray to God, I used to do that. I don't do that anymore because it's connected to a whole lot of negative stuff for me. And so, but I believe that I'm a very spiritual, as I said before, connected person, very, very mindful of who I'm being in the world, my purpose in the world, and my voice that I get to help encourage and empower other people in the world as well. So I'll hand over to Shadra.
Thank you. So I have various different forms or ways to pray. I was born in a Hindu family, so I have an altar in my house with all the deities, and I usually light a lamp near the deities and pray in silence. But at the same time, I am also brought up with the idea of oneness and consciousness manifesting in several forms. And I have had that belief since a long time, and it just became more stronger as I grew up and went through spiritual learnings and paths. And so I accept many faiths, and I'm usually more connected to my feeling inside, just like Dr. Elizabeth mentioned. I just feel like it's a being, it's a way of being manifesting in several forms. And so one form of prayer is praying in front of the deities, in front of the altar. Another form is chanting, which is very common to Hinduism and Buddhism. So I chant even while cooking. It is said that when we chant while cooking, those vibrations are absorbed in the food and water that we drink. In the mornings, I usually journal. I write down affirmations. And along with that, my spiritual master had asked us to keep a glass of water. And once we finish writing that, I take that glass of water and say prayers in the water or some positive affirmations and then drink the water. I also, whenever I have a chance, when I'm visiting different cities, I not only visit temples, I visit churches too, and I offer my prayer in silence. Doesn't matter if it is Jesus, doesn't matter if it is Krishna, doesn't matter to me if it is Buddha. For me, everybody is the one and same, and they are just expressing qualities of the divine according to me. And I have that belief that those same qualities I need to manifest in myself. So with that, I usually try to be a better being, a better person, and improve myself every day. And that's how I pray. So thank you, and I'll pass on to Heidi.
Thank you so much. And we've heard such a variance, and I love that, because for me, I am very specific. I love God. I love the Bible. Jesus is my savior. But for me, the relationship is what it's all about. A lot of people sometimes think if you're in a denomination or even a non-denominational church that there's a prescripted thing you have to do. And there are times when you do things like say an Our Father, for example. But if you think about it as a relationship, anyone who's married, you don't always speak with your spouse the same way. You don't always hug them the same way. You don't always interact at every meal the same way. And sometimes you have those moments where you can just sense the love, sense the camaraderie and the oneness so much that you don't even have to say anything. So for me, all of the above, whether it's saying nothing, whether there's worship music, whether there's an atmosphere set or not, whether I'm reading my Bible at the time or just thinking of a particular verse, or maybe a particular time when God was so good to me that it's just overwhelming me with thanksgiving, all of that is on the table, because I just love how God loves us so much that he wants to be personal with each one of us. And for those who have experienced bad things through maybe certain church issues, I've been through a divorce. I've had situations where, everyone wants to weigh in with an opinion. And the good news is that any opinion that disagrees with God's great love for you is wrong, because he adores everyone and he wants everyone to feel loved and accepted. So I focus on the relationship, and that really means that every day can be different and every once in a while it's the same. So that's how I pray, and the variance in it. And Yvonne, let's hear from you.
Thank you so much, Heidi. I agree with you when you say the personal relationship. I've been praying for a long time. I am the baby in my family. However, I'm the sole survivor at this time. I said all that to say when I was 17 years old, I graduated from high school, and my prayer from 1978 all the way through 97 was, Lord, please don't take my parents without me serving them. Please let me be able to serve them, because I was the baby, and I was the baby, and I loved them. And so he allowed me the time in 97 when I quit everything, quit my corporate job to come back home to help my dad care for my mom. the Lord gave me 3 years with her to serve her and to do everything that I could with her. And I am so appreciative of that because that prayer was answered, and also with my father. So I've been praying a long time. I pray first thing in the morning when I open my eyes. I pray throughout the day. That's just who I am and what I do. I have my community at church, my Bible study community. That's just what I do, and my garment of praise is gratitude. Gratitude. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful that I can go to my Father and pray and believe that whatever it is that I pray, He will answer. And if it's not the answer that I'm looking for, it's the best answer for me. And so I pray. That's what I do. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. Thank you for offering your guidance. And, you know, I love that this book is so diverse. You know, there's so many different women from all over the country, all over the world, but also different religious backgrounds and different ways that they practice their faith. And that allows it to be such a powerful and impactful book. And I think it's going to reach so many. So if you're out there and you're looking for something to give you guidance, to give you inspiration, to give you motivation, to give you really just hope, right? That these things that you might be facing are possible. So Pray Don't Panic. It's done amazing. It's a bestseller in the ebook. Can't wait to see what the paperback does. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for taking time today, joining us. Thank you for saying yes to this project, this book, and thank you for being willing to impact lives. If you read this book and one of these stories or many of these stories touch your heart, you want to work with these women, their contact information is in the book. So go get your copy of Pray Don't Panic. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.